This is The Practicing Christian. And with this report, we're looking at Christian vacations. You're understanding that correctly. Christian vacations, not vocations. These have quite a history. In the Greek model, people often visited religious sites. A cultured person went places, but not Socrates. He was a stay-at-home. Perhaps he'd seen enough travel in his years in the armored infantry and several campaigns of the Peloponnesian War. The Romans had a different approach, gathering at resort towns such as Pompeii. By the 300s, Christians had adopted the Greek model and began pilgrimages associated with Jesus, his birth, his life, his crucifixion, and his resurrection. As Pope Benedict XVI put it, to step out of ourselves in order to encounter God where he has revealed himself. The pilgrimages like those of Santiago de Compostela in northern Spain and others to Rome became important, not only for increasing spiritual depth and for conversions, but for a holy day cheer, as noted in Geoffrey Chaucer's Canterbury Tales, not unlike a modern cruise ship. Although Renaissance models of vacation travel increasingly became secular, the growth of religious travel to new places such as Lourdes, Fatima, Medjugorje, and Guadeloupe in Mexico has increased. And Protestants in America put together the idea of the week-long vacation called camp meeting, with singing, conversions, healing, prayer, study, blessing, and helping the kids find a marriage partner. They began in England and Scotland and were held during what was known as the Communion season. They were exported to America and began here enthusiastically around 1800. But by 1870, the vogue for these began to pass, in part because increased wealth and transport allowed marriage partners to be sought out and cultivated in cities and in non-rural locations. In recent times, pilgrimages have been added to by retreats, often over weekends, and study conferences, week-long camps held in good accommodations like Star Island off the New Hampshire coast and Camp Quinnipiac on Shelter Island, New York. Few complete lists exist of these across denominational lines. Now, one good one is cccA.org/ASSNFE/capital C, lowercase, OMPANY, capital S, lowercase EARCH.ASP. Another form of Christian holiday is to go on an Emmaus walk, EMMAUS. These are organized by denominations. Here's the Protestant one, organized by the Methodists. And they're Emmaus, all lowercase, Emmaus, EMMAUS, .upperroom, one word, .org. The Curcio is another, Catholic-based set of events, and this one is natl-cursillo.org, both lowercase. A good way to focus on the sort of recreation, which is what good recreation does, the recreation you most, perhaps possibly would like, is to identify the exact name of your denomination, or a denomination whose work you admire, and put this phrase in the search line of your computer, like, quote, Assemblies of God, close quote, and then list camps, retreats, and conferences. If you don't use quotation marks, you could get material from, well, in the case of Baptists, 22 or more different denominations of Baptists. Here's a model for one unusual sort of Christian retreat. First Things is an outstanding Catholic monthly. First Things is pleased to invite, I'm reading from their material that they put out on their website now. First Things is pleased to invite our readers to New York City for a memorable weekend of seminars and lectures on the virtuous life. Participants will have the opportunity to explore texts alongside scholars and First Things writers and editors, discussing ideas and questions about the political life and the small group seminar sessions. There are no academic prerequisites for participation, no grades, no exams. If you enjoy reading First Things or discussing the ideas found in its pages, this event is for you. Discussions will take place in small seminar sections led by faculty from Northeast Catholic College. Participants will explore substantial texts and questions of significance in an environment animated by a spirit of friendship and a common purpose. This is a rare opportunity to get together with like-minded individuals to talk about big, timeless ideas and how they inform our understanding of the issues that occupy our culture today. Now, they note in this material that the First Things intellectual retreat will be held from Friday, August 9 to Saturday evening, August 10, at the New York University Kimmel Center for University Life. They'd give the time for the cocktail reception, the dinner and leisure, the continental breakfast in the morning, the seminar discussions, the group participation setups, lunch and scheduled breaks throughout the day, cocktails again at 6 o'clock in the evening, and a musical performance at 7. And the dress code is business casual attire for cocktail receptions and dinners, casual attire for breakfast, lunch, and seminars. They tell you that reading materials will be emailed to the participants with a bound copy to follow by mail. The readings will include excerpts from three different books. Joseph Pieper's book, The Four Cardinal Virtues, Prudentius, I think an ancient Roman, in writing The Spiritual Combat, and Robert Louis Wilken, who wrote The Glorious Deeds of Christ. Now, the details of this are kind of interesting, but they are for a very specialized kind of meeting. But wherever you look for the themes that you like a music conference or a healing retreat or visiting Christian archaeological sites. A recent Christian revival in Massachusetts was billed as being for restoration, reconciliation, and healing. It was held on a weekend. Some brief events choose 3 or 4 day weekends to increase what they're offering, and in many cases people arrive early or stay a few days longer at the camp conference center or at a hotel after the retreat or revival, or go visit a nearby resort town right afterwards. But a great number of conferences are week-long. Good retreats or conferences or pilgrimages can be a bit tricky to find. Many denominations of Christians don't have their events cross-listed with regional or city-based lists. For example, I was on a spiritual retreat last month which was not listed by their own denomination, nor in the regional events listing in the city involved. I had to find it through one local church's notification in its online newsletter. Cursillos or Emmaus walks, however, will sometimes be listed in secular regional event listings. Another exception is Christian married couples weekends, which may be more broadly listed. They get more space on regional event lists. All this means it can be a good idea to get an early start in hunting down what you'd like. And yes, there are retreats for hunters as well. And remember, some will also have concurrent events for the kids. The one I attended, I mentioned above, didn't. While you're searching, you might also want to think of a person or family you'd like to invite to be with you, either on their own dime or as your guest or guests. One of the best sorting tools you'll be able to use and to comb through the great variety of opportunities is prayer. Take the time to ask God where He may want to use you. It's likely to be a retreat or other event that you also would find most satisfying. And when you get home from your experience, let others know what you found to be rewarding. They may never have been to any of these sorts of things. Serve then. Be the King's right arm.